Hi, this is Richard Fields with this week's report from the fields. People who rise to influence in politics and government generally fall into two categories: grifters and idealists. Grifters aspire to power for one primary reason: to enrich themselves. Boss Daley in Chicago, William Tweed in New York's Tammany Hall come to mind. Monarchy can also fall in this category. Grifters can be good at robbing the public, but that's generally where the damage ends. Idealists, however, can be much more dangerous. Idealists generally have very utopian ideas of how society should be organized. And if they believe the end justifies the means, as most of them do, they will pursue any means necessary to attain their end. Think Lenin and Stalin in the USSR, Mao and China and in China, and Pol Pot in Cambodia. Their uncompromising dream of creating a communist utopia let them justify the slaughter and starvation of millions of their subjects. Likewise, Hitler's utopian dream of a German fatherland led him to committing unspeakable murder and mayhem. Right now, the United States may have a fusion of the two styles. Donald Trump is clearly a grifter. His acceptance of a Boeing 747 from Qatar, issuing meme coins in the likeness of Melania, selling $399 never surrender sneakers and $59.99 Bibles. You get the idea. But where it gets worrisome is when he gets ideological, and that would be in trade policy. He's been spending far too much time listening to mercantilist quacks like Peter Navarro. Trump seems to actually ideologically believe that it's bad economic policy for any country to sell us more than we sell them. The fact that we have an overall trade imbalance with the rest of the world is simply an unavoidable artifact of printing unlimited quantities of the world's reserve currency. We ship dollars to the rest of the world, and they ship stuff to us. It's not viable in the long run, but it's a monetary reserve currency problem. It cannot be cured with tariffs, only made worse. And tariffs are not something a president can levy on his own accord with no input from Congress. It says so in the Constitution. Article 1, Section 8, Clause 1, Section 3, Clause 1, the Congress shall have the power to lay and collect taxes, duties, imposts, and excises. And finally, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit has said so. It's allowing the tariffs to remain in place until the Supreme Court can rule on the case. But if the U.S. Supreme Court correctly rules that the president has no authority to impose tariffs, the one thing that Trump seems to be doing for ideological purposes will be removed from his toolkit. And he can get back to grifting, which on balance would be a good thing. I'm Richard Fields, and that's this week's report from the fields. See you again next week.